Where it gets interactive. We have a chance to just express something if there is something powerful that has emerged from the first group, just at the midpoint of the workshop right now. So if we have assimilated what we have heard, and if it's making sense, then we're ready to move on. And it's a good time to hear from each other. So I'm going to shut up and just ask anybody. We can go totally, anybody, you don't have to. Anybody who wants to on Zoom, just raise your hand. We'll make sure that you're unmuted, or you make sure that you're unmuted. Make sure you're unmuted. And Roger's walking around making sure we're actually talking.
No, I'm actually taking pictures.
No, I know. Connie has a theory. If we don't have a picture, it didn't happen. So that's really important.
So we had to get pictures. Everybody okay with that? As far as posting it on Facebook or whatever? Okay. So let's have anybody have any thoughts on how it might affect your life and your thinking and your relationships and your relationship to yourself? Anybody have any thoughts on that they want to express? Because we can move on if there's nothing.
And just raise your hand if you do, and if you don't, if you did, again, if you don't have to say anything in this. This is just an opportunity if it is urgent for you.
And is this what you've known, or is this news, or a new way of seeing and thinking? Does anybody want to share anything?
I'll just share so that somebody shares something.
Uh-huh.
I actually was introduced to the concept that we choose our parents. We're choosing to be here several years ago, but it does change how you walk the world when knowing that this is all by choice. And it was really helpful in parenting to remind my kids that they picked me as a parent.
Oh, you did that as
okay.
Yeah. So that's kind of fun.
yeah.
Like, don't be mad at me, you picked me.
There you go. No blame, no shame. Can you move a little closer to me? I want to get Rita into the chat. Look at that, Rita.
Anybody else?
Rita, if you can just slow down. So we keep, now you see your
Melanie.
Yeah.
Melanie Bennett.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that I was introduced to this through this great book called The Trust Frequency. And I love it. I love it. I love it. I just read it at the right time. That's exactly when I needed to read it, and it's perfect. And I love the idea of the universe is unconditional love. I mean, it makes you feel good just saying that. So that assumption is incredible. So thank you for that. It's a really important book. So.
Sweet. Well, we're so glad you're here, and we're glad you picked up the book and read it She's had it for years. We gifted it to her years ago. So that's what we've been waiting for with this work, is when it's time in the consciousness for it. And it's getting time. As in this evolution of consciousness, it's time for this work, individual work, and for just walking in the trust of a conscious, loving universe out there in our everyday life. What we're dealing with is this relationship piece of it. Anybody else?
I guess I miss the concept of how we picked our parents.
Yeah, well, that's this whole consciousness piece that's beyond our understanding of, because here we are in these meat suits, people say, in this 3D, and we have such a limited understanding in this construct that our worldview has got us in such a little box that it's hard to comprehend that. Absolutely.
But the definition of humanity that you
in this construct that we're presenting,
we chose to come to Earth with a purpose and a gift, and that choice included how we got here, which is through our parents. And if we, and I don't know, I don't remember necessarily if in the sort of pre-incarnated reality, we actually said, I want to be with those guys. Are they actually choosing? Are we choosing? Are our children choosing us? Don't know, but that's the concept, and it's I just think it's a beautiful concept to feel intentional about all of this, including, you know, an abusive dad or whatever it might be, that we actually came with the openness to have these experiences, get these wounds.
Well,
And it can be a stretch.
And this
It
construct,
can make no sense at all, and that's possible too.
yeah, and so for this exercise, we're saying, okay, we're going to take these assumptions as absolutely true for the exercise. Okay, you can go out of this exercise and say, that's a whole lot of bunk. I'm not going there. I can't go there. It doesn't work for me. That's fine. But we're saying in this exercise, take this as absolutely true. Just go there and take it as absolutely true. And see where it takes you in your perspective, in your understanding, in how you approach life. It might just change things dramatically, so that when you walk out of here, you're going, oh, wow, okay, now I see the gift you've brought me through that behavior. Okay, so let's get into...
I'd just like to say something.
Yeah.
After the experience of going into the quiet and the introspection and going into the center of the universe, coming into that space and that consciousness and that perspective, walking around the building, things are alive in a way that they weren't when I first came in this morning. There's an aliveness apparent in everything that I look at. And it just feels more vibratory, more aliveness. So thank you.
Could it also be that we choose our life partners for the purpose of evolutional growth?
Oh yeah,
Without
absolutely.
even knowing?
We
Absolutely.
may even have known each other before if this whole past life thing is true.
Let me tell you, in my life, I married my father's shadow. Okay? So that, and that's not him, my first husband. I married my father's shadow.
I'm even worse.
No. No, I did a lot of work. You're not worse. I married my father's shadow so that I could heal my unconscious wounds around my father's shadow, because my father was my champion. I mean, so I resonated to his light and what he gifted me, but he had a shadow. He was a kind of a zombie on some levels, a closed part of his heart, okay? I didn't know how wounded I was. I married his shadow, okay? And was in the dance of souls for 20 years before I realized. Well, no, it was like 10 years before I realized it, and 20 years before I said, okay, now we're done with that, and left the relationship. But I knew I had to heal myself before I could leave, that he would stop treating me that way, or I would leave, because I came into understanding and resonating. The big piece of that I came into self-love was around my powerful self, okay? I was not acknowledging my true self, the gift I have to bring to the party, okay? My power, I wasn't acknowledging that, and he had to beat up on that verbally. There was no physical abuse, but he had to show me that I wasn't loving part of myself, okay? So I don't blame my father, I don't blame him, I don't blame anyone for the behaviors that bring me into that, okay? So I dealt with that. I came into that self-love through, it's a gift, huge gift, okay? And our soul is asking for that behavior so that we can do that work. So that's huge. It's not like you create your own reality, so it's karma and you're bad and wrong, and it's no. I came here for this work.
And all of these behaviors are a gift. Thank you for that. And what is the appropriate response to the receiving of a gift? Gratitude.
Thank you.
And that's so hard. The hardest thing, I think, of all of this work is to be truly, soulfully grateful to people who bring up all that stuff that we don't want to face, and we don't want to deal with. Thank you, because if it doesn't come up and get dealt with, it keeps sabotaging us.
And we keep getting repeated behaviors,
Mhm.
okay?
Until we get through it.
So there's other aspects that I haven't healed that I'm in a dance with him about, okay? And he's in a dance with me. So we've been at it for 16 years. And we've healed so much in our first marriages, okay? But we still, I'll tell you, I look at it like a little whisk broom, those little brooms. We're going into our subconscious and getting every nook and cranny. I mean, we work, you say, oh, I've been at this for decades. I've been working on this so much, but here there's still more. It's like, okay, we got to go in here in this little corner and get that one. We got to go in there and get that one.
That little black widow lurking in the corner.
Okay, we got to get it up and out. That's our job for humanity, for ourselves. Okay, so let's get to it. All right, so it's going to be this sort of 3-act play: the situation, the challenges, and the resolution. Okay, we're going to do that in an hour and a half. What do we got for time here? Oh, an hour.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to walk through this pretty quickly.
So again, this is an overview of this work, and it's deep, but I think we'll give you enough of a takeaway that it will have value, and it may actually bring about transformation. But again, understand that we're going to have to move quickly, just because we have another 60 minutes to present this. And here we go. Ready?
Here we go. And you want to go deeper, you take our course, because then you can go at your own pace. There's lots of meditations, there's lots of information, there's these processes.
There's an online course now online that is available, and it's 6 weeks of deep.
If you want to take 6 weeks, we say do it 1 week at a time. Anyway,
yeah.
Okay, here we go, because we've got an hour. All right, so the situation, the trigger. You want to talk about the trigger?
So I have to confess that the word situation can be pronounced situation, because a lot of us find ourselves in what, as an Englishman, I would say is a bit of a situation. So I was in a bit of a situation. And I was thinking about triggers. Question to everybody here. Triggers, it's part of a gun, right? It's something that you pull and a big bang goes off and some things change. What's a trigger in this context? Can anybody say what you think we're really talking about here? What's a trigger?
An emotional, something that stimulates an emotion that's not necessarily in that moment, but it maybe is past history or future.
So it brings up an emotional response. It's something that occurs, it's an occurrence, an event of some sort, somebody saying something or something that happens, that brings up an emotional response that is ultimately likely to be like a repeating pattern that might have nothing to do with the person in the present, or maybe from some whole other reality.
Exactly.
Great.
Karen?
Like a built-in defensive mechanism?
A built-in defense mechanism.
You got it, girl.
So
you got it.
You trigger me and I'm going to shut down.
Or I'm going to go for you.
Yeah.
So it depends what your defense mechanisms are. So we're going to deal with that stuff. Okay. Any of you guys got anything to say on the subject?
Trigger.
Okay. Here we go with triggers. Okay. So we're going to break into twos. And what you're going to do is you're going to talk about repeated behaviors that trigger you.
Can we really do the twos on with the Zoom?
Yeah, he can put them. Do you know how to put them in rooms?
No.
It's not showing me when we were on break, it wasn't showing me rooms.
So Zoom has the capability of putting people into rooms with just 2 of you in each room, but I think we don't know how to do that. So
We could maybe do chatting with each other.
You're all set.
Melanie, do you know how to do it, Melanie Bennett?
No, but maybe we can chat. We pick somebody and we can talk by chat.
Okay, yeah,
So what are we looking for here? We're looking for repeating patterns. How I respond or react in a certain way to certain triggers. What triggers me? And how do I behave when I'm triggered? That's the key. Like
Okay,
I personally,
first-
if I get triggered and I behave in a certain way, and then after that I feel, oh God, I wish I hadn't behaved that way. There's an example.
if you're actually willing
If you're
to
conscious.
recognize.
Right.
Yeah, so what we're gonna do is, we're gonna be in twos, and if these guys can, I don't know, what we'll do it
There's no
here.
room, there's no room.
So we're gonna talk about repeated behaviors that have come through our lives. If we can identify repeated behaviors that trigger us, okay? So that's the first job. So let's do that. And then the next job is going to be how we act when we're triggered. Okay, but let's do the repeating behaviors that trigger us. So do we figure out how to get these guys? Well, you guys can just write it down,
And send it on chat.
and send it on chat, or just write it down for yourselves. It's really for you to identify these behaviors that trigger you.
So we're identifying firstly the things that trigger us, right?
Yeah.
The behaviors that trigger us. And then are we going to the next step is how
Yeah.
do we behave when triggered?
Yeah,
Are those the two things we're
Yeah.
doing right now?
right.
So to clarify, what triggers me and when I'm triggered, how do I behave? If we can just nail those.
But listen, the first one is what triggers me.
Yeah.
Okay, do you guys want to do it together, or do you want to, because we say it's basically better to do it not with somebody.
I would like to do it.
Okay,
Okay.
okay, if you guys are up for that,
Are you okay?
you okay with that?
No, that's fine.
Because you can be objective with
You
somebody
too.
else.
I can be objective.
Does that make sense? Or
If
should
you
we?
guys feel you can be
Actually,
objective.
why don't I'm going to go over there.
Yes,
Work
yeah.
with Rita.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay? And now you and me, all right.
All right.
Okay, have fun, you guys. You guys write it down. Here's the good, bad news. What we look at is the underlying feeling of how this behavior makes us feel. This is what this behavior is for. And the defense mechanism, the trigger mechanism, is a defense mechanism to cover how we feel about ourselves. Okay? So what we need to do is ascertain how we feel when we're triggered. Okay? Which means you make me feel untrustworthy. You make me feel stupid. You make me feel irresponsible.
no one can make me feel that way.
Right,
Yes.
right.
But that's the way we tend to reflect it back to the other.
Okay, you make me feel worthless. So that's how, what we have to do is say, okay, you're saying I'm worthless, or I'm stupid, or I'm this or that. You've triggered me, and I'm defending myself. Okay, so what we need to do is go and say, okay, identify the fact that I feel I am worthless. Okay, I have no value. I am unlovable. I am stupid. I think that about myself. You've just shown me what I think about myself. Okay, so it's not you're bad and wrong for abandoning me or making me feel this way. It's I thank you for triggering me to show me that I have work to do, that I feel unlovable. I feel stupid. I feel these things about myself. It's not about you thinking I'm these things. It's about I think these things. This is the work, okay? It's huge because our defense mechanisms, and we'll talk about that, okay, but our defense mechanisms are covering up because we don't want anybody to see that we really are worthless. I mean, we really think that because of childhood experiences because we asked these people to treat us like we were worthless or to be seen and not heard. Okay? That we didn't have anything of value to bring. So, you know, children are meant to be seen but not heard. So, okay, I've got something to say, but I have no value to say it. This is an example. Okay, so one takes that on. I have no value to speak. Is that okay?
Mhm.
I mean, we just got this. I'm just using this and I just got permission to speak of it. I have no value to bring to a conversation, to bring, so I shut up and I bring in experiences that make me feel overrun by people who talk too much, by people who don't pay any attention to me. Okay, so what the work is to get at, okay, in that childhood when I was told to shut up and I had no value, that means I have no value. Okay, that's what the wound I came to take on. I'm worthless. I have no value. Nobody wants to hear from me, so I'm going to shut up. Okay, and not be heard. So we're going to bring in circumstances that people are going to show us something in some way that's going to say, all right, is that true? Do I have nothing to say? Am I truly have nothing of value to bring to humanity? No. Guess what? I am a roving sensory organ of the divine. I am amazing. I have something to bring. I'm going to bring my true self. I'm going to step up and speak all those things I haven't said since I was told to be seen and not heard. Okay? Because I have a gift to bring to the party, and all of creation is awaiting me, all of me. All those pieces I haven't brought to the party because I had this work to do. So that's the work we're going to do now.
So each of these people who come to us, literally their face is in our face. We love them. We fall in love with each other. And a little bit later, they're triggering us. Interesting. So they're a mirror for us. We're looking into the mirror and we're not liking what we see in that mirror. And the challenge is to face that mirror.
Because it's like showing us what we have back here in our subconscious. Here's the mirror. Here's our subconscious back here. You know, the mirror thing, when you have another mirror, you can see what's back there. And it can see, yeah, it comes forth. It's just showing us what we can't see because it's hidden so deeply in survival. We're not going to survive if anybody finds out
who we really are,
how stupid and worthless we really are. So we have these defense mechanisms, this mask we put on. First, we have these defense. Well, let's say, first we put this mask on to hide them. And then we have these defense mechanisms to protect us so that nobody gets beneath that mask to see how we truly feel about ourselves, which is the work we came to do. So there's no shame in having these shadow pieces whatsoever. It's the work we came on the planet to do. So this is the gift of the loving universe. So.
And the gift of each person who comes to us and triggers us, if we can recognize it as a gift and be grateful for that, which is hard.
We're going to go into our pairs again, and we're going to go deep and see what we feel about ourselves from these behaviors.
How do we feel
when
these triggering events occur? How does that make us feel, or how do we feel in reaction or response to the trigger?
Yeah, right? And then we take that how do we feel, and then we take it and within the same exercise, how we feel, we take it and we flip it and we look at it as how we feel about ourselves. So that's a two-part exercise to identify the feeling and then go into, okay, I'm going to look at it as how I feel about myself. Okay?
Okay.
All right? So we get to do that. And that's what you guys did? Did you talk to each other on chat?
That's okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
They were doing a great job.
Oh, good.
Oh, good.
Only Roger knows.
Only Roger knows. He's a life coach. He can come in and.
Yeah, right. Our technical person here, Roger. Thank you, Roger.
Yeah.
Keeping the smoothness rolling.
Okay, so
Rita just went maybe to.
Get paper towels.
Oh,
um,
right. Okay, good.
so was this a revelatory exercise for seeing how one feels about oneself instead of blaming the other person, that we go and we say, okay, what deep feeling is it about myself? I guess, we were in conversation, and artists is, I don't know, you want to talk about it?
No, go for it.
I'll go for it.
Mhm.
Okay, so where she got to was that she had a husband that talked all the time. She has a son who talks all the time. She doesn't get a word in edgewise. So what she got to in this process was that when she was a child, she was told to be seen and not heard. Okay, so what's underneath that? Okay, my parents told me I was to be seen and not heard. It's the culture. I'm a victim of the culture. Okay, we're getting over that. She didn't say that. But that's how we feel. Okay, I was told to be seen and not heard. My parents were bad and wrong. The culture was bad and wrong. So I shut down, and I've got all this feelings of worthlessness. Okay, so what she got to was, okay, nobody wants to hear me. I have nothing of value to bring to the world. Okay, so I am less than. I'm not okay. I have nothing of value. Why am I even here? Right? I mean, that's how you go even deeper. Okay, so what she has seen is that she's a writer and has a block. Okay, what's that block? Well, guess what? Maybe that block is nobody wants to hear what I've got to say, so why should I write a book? Right? I have no value. Nobody wants to hear it. So this is the transformative aspect of this work, that her ever-talking husband that she's divorced, and now her ever-talking son, is showing her that she has nothing to say. So why give her any opportunity to talk? All right? So his gift, now maybe if she heals this and brings it into the light, and like realizes, whoa, hey, I'm artist. I'm magnificent. I'm brilliant. I've got so much to say and so much to give. I've had this, how many years of experiences and so much to bring. Hey, guess what, world? Watch out. Here comes artist. All right? She's brought that into the light right here in the workshop, perhaps. Okay? That's what this is for. So, watch out. Here she comes.
So the 3-act play we were talking about. So the first part is the situation. So the situation is these things that trigger us. We're in a relationship. There's stuff that happens. We have these habitual behaviors. We keep calling up these triggering events. And then we have these ways we react. And now we have at least got in touch with how that feels, how that situation, looking into that mirror, how do I feel about seeing that reflection of myself? So we're getting in touch with feelings, which is critical. We are aware of what the situation is. And then the question becomes, what's in the way? We asked earlier on, are we actually going to do the am I open to change? We did that sort of with a show of hands, right? So the question is, a truly enlightened person, if there's any such thing, would obviously simply go, oh, and done deal, right? So what's standing in the way what obstacles are there? Is there anything perhaps other than they're deeply
How are we doing?
buried? It's 11:30. We've got a half hour. So the second part, and it's that hero's journey. That hero is in a situation. He goes for his goal and encounters opposition or whatever it is, whether it's personal or outward. And then, God willing, triumphs comes through and we get to resolution, and here you are at the other side of the mountain and we are elevated and transformed. Do we need to talk about the opposing forces? You don't like opposing forces, but the obstacles?
Well, first, we're going to do one more process.
Are we still in the situation?
Yeah,
Okay.
we're going to do one more process. And if we had time, we'd have everyone share that wants to. Maybe they had some revelations. I shared artist's revelation. I mean, this really went deep for her. Hopefully you guys experienced something, but we don't have much time. So what I want to do is do one more process, and that is, what is the mask, okay, that we put on to appear that we do have value, that we're okay, that we're happy, everything's fine, and okay, so we've put on a mask for survival. Okay, so what we want to say is, okay, the thought is, okay, are we a know-it-all? Are we shy?
What's the nature of the mask?
What's the nature of the mask? You know, or do we talk a lot? Do we laugh a lot? Are we loud, controlling, arrogant? We dominate conversations. We pretend we're interested in others so that we don't have to talk about ourselves. You know, we're sarcastic. We help others to the extreme. We're a perfectionist. We're a rescuer. You know, what is it we've put in place to cover those feelings so nobody can see how we truly feel about ourselves, these aspects, these shadow aspects. Okay, so let's go there.
Back to our
Yeah.
back to our partners?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so that's a deep thing. Okay.
So you mentioned
So here. The next thing we were going to do was the defense mechanisms.
And the mask is a part of that or not?
No, the mask is what you project to the world.
And then people see behind your mask as you get deeper into a relationship. You meet, you're both wearing masks, and now you're seeing through each other. Ooh.
Yeah,
And now we have defense mechanisms.
defense mechanisms to keep ourselves safe.
So our masks will not be exposed from behind the mask.
Right. So our defense mechanisms.
Could you hold this 1 second?
Yes.
Hold it 1 second.
Yeah.
please.
Here she comes.
Thank you.
Good for you, thank you. You're back.
So we'll do a quick little exercise on our defense mechanisms, what we do to protect ourselves, so that when we're triggered, we're triggered, we're feeling all this stuff. Now, what do we do to protect ourselves so that nobody sees through the mask? Okay, so these defense mechanisms can be attack, annihilate the other, just
Point the finger.
point the finger at them, make them bad and wrong. And so that we don't have to look, it's so that we don't have to look at what we feel about ourselves. Okay? Because it's survival. We don't want anyone to know, because it's survival. I mean, it's that deep, it's that strong, it's that powerful that we have these defense mechanisms to cover that up, okay? To get them out of here. So we leave the room, we leave the relationship, we annihilate the other. You know, what do we do? we back down, we become nothing, you know, we just pull in and become nothing. What do we do to protect ourselves? So I've got a list. We leave the relationship. We become passive aggressive, like our friend that we read at the beginning. Passive aggressive is really powerful. By, you know, we subtly make them wrong, just subtly. We get depressed, we feel hopeless, we consider suicide. We have conflict avoidance, we just pass it off as nothing important and we just don't engage. We drink alcohol, we take drugs, we annihilate the other. We shut down, we disassociate, we emotionally check out. We overeat to obesity, we get angry. So what do we do? And what we have to understand is that anger is simply a cover for our deep work we have to do. So anger doesn't count in any of this as an emotion, because anger is merely a cover-up. So let's just have a little chat with each other about our defense mechanisms, what we do, what our behaviors are. Okay? Let's do that for like a quick one, because it's almost noon and people have other things to do. Okay? So, those aspects of ourselves we don't yet love, that maybe have come up through this understanding of the loving nature of all relationships, the challenging relationships, that they are a gift to us so that we can see these aspects of ourselves and bring those aspects into the light, transmute them, and walk forth with more self-love, self-acceptance. We've transmuted that piece. Maybe we've got some other trigger points, we've got some other aspects, but that piece we've identified, we've seen, we've transmuted, we've brought it into the light, and now we can go forth. And we're not asking, our soul isn't asking for that behavior anymore from the other. So the other is released from that behavior pattern. You see? So we don't have to bring that into our life anymore.
So once I've resolved it within myself, you don't have to, that behavior from you that triggered me before doesn't trigger me. And secondly, I'm not even evoking that behavior from you,
Right.
because it's a completely different vibe.
Yeah, exactly.
Different vibratory level in the relationship.
In the relationship, but it's a relationship to oneself.
Primarily.
Primarily.
Right.
If I feel stupid and somebody comes and makes me feel stupid, and now I don't feel like I'm stupid anymore, nobody's going to come. I'm not going to interpret that behavior. See, because we're interpreting that behavior, that person just made me feel stupid. He's talked down to me. He's done this, he's done that, whatever it is, to show me that I feel stupid about myself. We're not going to interpret that behavior anymore, that person's putting me down, and he's talking down to me. It's like, oh yeah, okay, Joe, fine, whatever. It's not, doesn't become a trigger anymore. So if our soul is called forth, Joe, to say to us in a tone of voice, perhaps, that makes that statement sound to us like he's putting us down, he's not going to have to use that tone of voice anymore. You see, because our soul is actually asking for that behavior from Joe so that we can feel stupid, so that we can feel like we are stupid, when in fact we're totally brilliant and a gift to humanity in some form, whatever it is. If we weren't great in school, but we've got this other gift that because we weren't great in school and because we had this stupid tape, We think we don't have anything to bring to the party, when in fact we've got this magnificent gift of music, of poetry, of whatever it is,
Of love.
of love, because we're all love. It's all love. It's all there is. Okay, so how does that,
So have we reached the third act?
yeah, the third act,
So the third act, we've encountered we've clarified our situation. We've encountered the challenges, the hurdles, and we have reached the point of resolution where the hero's journey is complete. And at least in this little mini journey that we're taking together today, we've reached a place of resolution, of understanding, of having found a different way, a higher vibratory way of dealing with these situations. So we've sort of risen above it by raising our frequency. And once we know that we create reality with the power of our consciousness, we recognize our role in these situations we create. Because in any intimate love relationship, there's always all this stuff that brings up, and actually it's the purpose of the relationship so that you compel me to evolve.
yeah,
And I compelled you to evolve. And if we can do that in a really cool dance,
conscious.
that is a conscious dance that really has cool choreography and cool moves, so that it actually becomes a delight to grow, as opposed to something it's like,
Yeah,
pulling
exactly.
teeth. It's a whole different
Yeah,
feeling to it.
exactly. And you realize the gift, and it's on the table. Hey, guess what? I have a stupid tape. Okay, I just got triggered into it. So let's talk about it. Oh yeah, well this, let's get it on the table.
Yeah. One thing Connie and I have learned is that if we get hot under the collar, it's not the right time to try to deal with any of this stuff. And we've learned that our relationship, our love is resilient, so we can make it through, even though at the time it might feel like this is it. It's the next day, we can talk about it. We're just, we've calmed down, and we can really, and then the benefits and the growth factor becomes clear.
For the relationship, and mainly for the individual to come to see they're not stupid. Okay, I don't know where I took that on. I took it on because at school or whatever, and now I realize I'm so brilliant in some way, because we have so many different aspects. But anyway, we don't have to go into that. So hopefully this 3 hours has given you folks some insights. And we're getting some clapping here, Melanie Bennett, and some insights and some movement into self-love. That's what it's all about.
Could you go back to the sentence?
Yeah, okay.
Foundational sentence.
And end with the
Okay.
end with the 3A sentence, or the humanities?
7 A's.
The 7A sentence.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
remember, the gratitude and the attitude is the key.
Well, yeah, when we come to see that everything happens for us, not to us, because we've given this overarching act of free will. Okay, so it's all free will. It's not something messing with us. We had and I figured that out. That's our overarching act of free will, to tell the loving universe, okay, take me on this journey. Give me these experiences so that I can come to self-love and bring this amazing gift to the world, which is me, my essence, all of me. Not just the mask that I put on to make it look like I'm all okay and happy and everything's fine. Okay? Because the whole universe is waiting for that gift of you, of us.
And
That book you're gonna write now. Artist is gonna go and write that book.
Yes.
Okay, that song you wanna write, that gift you wanna give to your children, to your whatever, to the world, that job you want, whatever it is, it's waiting for you to bring that gift forth. So,
and remember where we went with that little journey this morning. Remember who you are, remember where we are, remember what we're part of. And I think that for me, that really, really helps. All of these bumps along the road just to remember what's really going on, which is completely, totally extraordinary.
Which is it to align with the love that we are and to understand that it's all love. There's nothing but love. Even the stuff we see as not love is in fact love. God is love. God is everything. Therefore, everything is love.
And love is everything.
And love. Okay, so the 7 A's. Oh, and then we're going to end with the vows of love.
Ooh,
Okay, so the 7 A's. With expanded awareness and accurate assumptions, we choose our attitude, consciously direct our attention, align with our highest inner promptings, take committed action, and allow the loving universe to manifest beyond our wildest dreams. So ultimately, it goes beyond intent because we don't even know what's there beyond our wildest dreams. So we just really have to be aware that the conscious, loving universe is giving us what we're asking for. So I don't ever tell the universe what I want, because I want what the universe wants for me that's beyond my wildest dreams. Okay? So, here, we're going to do the 7.
And the grand
the grand finale.
The grand finale here is, where is
The
it?
vows of love.
So Connie wrote this way back before we ever met. And it's almost, you could use it in your wedding ceremony. It's about the function, the purpose of an intimate relationship.
Okay, so this came to me in a traffic jam on Highway 82 in the Roaring Fork Valley.
Plenty of opportunity there.
Which happens to be right here.
What'd you say?
There's plenty of opportunity for that.
Yes, well, that was when it was a 2-lane highway. In 1992. Okay, so here it is, and we're gonna all repeat it. So you repeat it, we repeat it to our partners, or just,
Do you want to do it that way? Or
what should
just-
we do?
I was thinking you'd just read it and everybody.
No,
could
but
just-
they can repeat after me.
Okay.
Okay, so you repeat after me, and if you want to do it with a partner, you can, or if you just want to repeat it. Okay, here we go. I will faithfully reflect the light and beauty that is in your heart.
I will faithfully reflect the light and beauty that is in your heart.
I will also mirror for you all of your wounds and insecurities.
I will also mirror for you all of your wounds and insecurities.
And will help you make friends with your shadow.
I will help you make friends with your shadow.
Those parts of yourself that you do not yet love.
Those parts of yourself that you do not yet love.
I will as well
I will as well.
thank you and honor you for mirroring for me
Thank you and honor you for mirroring for me
the parts of myself that I cannot see.
the parts of myself that I cannot see.
Each time I try to blame and judge you,
Each time I try to blame and judge you,
I will remind myself to look inside
I will remind myself to look inside
and articulate and bring into the light my shadow side
and articulate and bring into the light my shadow side
that you have shown me.
that you have shown me.
I realize that by entering into a relationship with you,
I realize that by entering into a relationship with you,
I have agreed to walk with you into deep unconscious levels
I have agreed to walk with you into deep
unconscious
levels
levels on the journey toward wholeness.
on the journey towards wholeness.
If at any time
If
If
at any time
we decide to end this relationship,
we decide to end this relationship,
I recognize that it will be because
I recognize that it will be because
we have served each other's growth as best we can.
we have served each other's growth as best we can.
I look forward to the day
I look forward to the day
when the fruit of our time together
when the
When the fruit of our time together
will have ripened through the many seasons of our relationship.
will have ripened through the many seasons of our relationship.
There we are, folks.
Okay, that's it, kids.
Much love and many thanks.
That's a wrap.
That's a wrap.
It's a wrap.
Thank you.
Thank you, thank you. That was awesome. That was awesome.
Awesome.
Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Roger, the invisible man behind the
Yeah,
whole.
there's Roger.
Picture up there.
Okay.
Yeah, good.
Thank
Roger.
you, thank you. I hope you have all a wonderful rest of the day.
Yes, you too.
Thank
you.
What's he say?
David, Kurchana, you guys are awesome.
And those two
Oh, Melanie.
Melanies, we're gonna come see you in the next couple of weeks, just so
Yeah,
you know.
Melanie Bennett jumped off.
So Melanie Bennett's in San Diego, we're gonna actually be there, and Melanie Krasny, we're gonna see in Sedona. I don't even know if you know that yet, Melanie.
And there, all our Sunrise Ranch folks, thanks for joining us.
And
And
Melanie,
you'll get a recording.
Christopher, you guys, I love how you guys participated. Thank you.